I learned the truth about mystery weight gain on a quiet Tuesday when Mrs. Daniels brought me a shoebox. Inside were food logs, pedometer printouts, and a ribbon from the walking club she led at her church. "I'm doing everything right," she whispered, "but my waist keeps growing." She looked ashamed, as if a stubborn body were a moral failure. I asked permission to read her notes aloud. Toast and jam for breakfast, fat-free yogurt for lunch, almonds by the handful, orange juice for heart health, long afternoons knitting in her favorite chair, then a little laugh. "I don't eat much." None of it sounded wrong, yet every line pointed to the same invisible drift, the slow, predictable shift in metabolism after 60 that no one ever explained to her. Before we go any further, a clear promise and a boundary. This video is for educational purposes only and not medical advice. Use what you hear to ask sharper questions and shape gentler habits, then personalize it with your own clinician. And because this channel is a real conversation, I want to know how old you are and where you're watching from. Post your age and location in the comments. I read them like postcards from a global neighborhood of women who refuse to give up on feeling light, strong, and free. Today, I'm counting down 10 silent mistakes that push older women toward weight gain, moving from 10 to 1, each told through a real-world story, a simple piece of science, and a clear fix you can begin today. When we reach number 3, you'll hear the nighttime habit I see in almost every chart. When we reach number 1, you'll meet the mistake that steals fat burning all day long while you barely notice it. Let's begin. Number 10, starting the morning with air, coffee, toast, and too little protein. I love coffee. I love toast. What I don't love is what happens to older muscle when the first real protein in a day doesn't arrive until lunch. After 60, we become anabolic resistant, which means it takes a stronger protein signal to maintain the same muscle we kept easily at 40. Studies in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, 2015, and later confirmations show that older adults who anchor breakfast with 25 to 30 grams of protein preserve more lean mass and burn more calories at rest than those who don't. Lean mass is the engine of fat burning. When the engine shrinks, every calorie hits harder. Diane is 67, a retired dental hygienist who prided herself on a light breakfast, toast with jam and 2 cups of coffee. By 10 a.m., she was hungry and foggy, and by 8 p.m., she was grazing. When she swapped the toast and coffee duet for Greek yogurt with ground flax and berries, plus a boiled egg, she stopped white-knuckling the morning. 6 weeks later, she said, "I didn't change my willpower. I changed my fuel." Your fix is gentle and powerful. Aim for a real protein anchor at breakfast. Eggs, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, tofu scramble, or beans if that's your culture's comfort. And let that first meal tell your muscles they still matter. The next mistake is even more surprising because it wears a health halo right on the label. Number 9. Trusting low-fat and fat-free packages that trade fat for sugar. Decades of diet marketing taught a whole generation to fear fat and chase labels. Manufacturers obliged. Remove fat, add sugar and starch so it still tastes like food. Multiple cohort analyses from Harvard and others, including work reported through the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition and BMJ, show that low-fat processed options are often higher in added sugars that spike insulin. And insulin is a storage hormone. It shuttles energy into fat cells, especially around the waist after menopause when estrogen's protective effects have ebbed. Helen is 68, a retired mail carrier who ate fat-free strawberry yogurt daily for my heart. Her fasting glucose crept upward, her triglycerides rode shotgun, and her belly softened under the waistband she'd worn for years. The day she switched to plain Greek yogurt and added walnuts and cinnamon, her afternoon cravings quieted. Within 3 months, she lost 12 pounds without counting anything. She simply stopped riding a sugar wave she didn't know she was on. Your fix is to read ingredients, not marketing. Choose foods close to their original form. Plain yogurt instead of sweet cups. Olive oil dressings instead of sugar-thickened light versions. Nuts and seeds in measured portions. Fat isn't the villain. Fake simplicity is. If labels can lure you, the next mistake can happen with a perfectly honest handful. Healthy snacks by the handful that quietly add hundreds of calories. Nuts, granola, dried fruit, they're nutrient-dense, heart-helpful, and calorie-concentrated. Observational work following large adult cohorts, including analyses out of Harvard in 2019, found that people who added nuts without controlling portions gained slow, steady weight, not because nuts are bad, but because a few extra handfuls a day are the calorific equivalent of an extra meal. After 60, basal metabolic rate falls, so healthy extras land more loudly. Rosa is 70, a retired choir director who kept a beautiful glass jar of almonds on the counter. She said, "I only grab a few," and then laughed when we counted together. A few happened 6 times between breakfast and dinner. At about 160 calories a small handful, her snack habit quietly added 500 to 700 calories to days that felt light. She didn't stop eating nuts. She measured an ounce into a small dish and put the jar away. Her weight stabilized first, then her waistline followed. Your fix is dose, not denial. Keep the food you love, but treat energy-dense health foods like medicine. Measure the dose, enjoy the taste, and close the bottle. If daytime nibbling can build a belly, the next mistake doubles storage while you sleep. Number 7. Drinking fruit juice instead of water and spiking insulin in the dark. 100% juice, no sugar added, it sounds like permission. The problem is anatomy, not morality. Juicing removes fiber, the brake that slows sugar's entry into blood. In mid and late life, insulin sensitivity naturally declines. Pour a glass of juice and you deliver sugar faster than your tissues can use it. Multiple nutritional epidemiology studies, for example, work published in Circulation and the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, link frequent juice intake to weight gain and higher diabetes risk compared with whole fruit. Margaret is 65 and drank a generous glass of orange juice every morning for vitamins. We did the math together. 8 ounces, about 24 grams of sugar, almost no fiber, plus a mid-afternoon healthy apple juice when she felt sluggish. She swapped both juices for water and ate a whole orange with her breakfast. 6 months later, she weighed 12 pounds less without changing her dinners. She didn't discover a fad, she rediscovered fiber. Your fix is to chew your fruit and drink your water. Keep the sweetness, keep the vitamins, keep the fullness signal your gut was designed to send. And if liquid sugar can outpace your muscles, the next mistake weakens the muscles themselves.
6. Treating walking as enough while strength quietly disappears. I will never talk you out of walking. I will talk you into adding resistance. Sarcopenia, the age-related loss of muscle and strength, accelerates after 60 and steals resting calorie burn more than any snack ever could. Meta-analyses summarized in the Journal of Gerontology and Cochrane reviews show that even light progressive strength training in older adults increases lean mass, improves insulin sensitivity, and reduces fat, even without dramatic diet changes. Joyce is 67, a retired accountant who walked daily but still grew softer and more easily winded. Her physical therapist taught a minimalist routine: chair stands, heel raises, wall push-ups, a 10-minute band circuit 3 days a week. At 8 weeks, she noticed stairs no longer demanded a handrail. At 16 weeks, she needed a new notch on her belt. "My body remembers me," she said, and she was right. Your fix is 10 minutes of resistance 2 to 3 days a week, enough to whisper to muscle, you're still needed. Muscles don't care about your birthday, they care whether you ask them to work. Even strong muscles struggle, though, when sleep sabotages their hormones. That's next. 5. Undersleeping and letting hunger hormones drive the day. Sleep isn't a luxury, it's a metabolic meeting where your brain renegotiates hormones that govern hunger and fat storage. Controlled sleep restriction studies in adults, including older subgroups reported in journals like the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism, show increases in ghrelin, the I'm hungry signal, decreases in leptin, the I'm satisfied signal, and next day cravings for high calorie foods when sleep is short or fractured. Add the cortisol bump that follows poor sleep, and insulin gets pushy. Storage wins over burn. Beatrice is 72, a retired nurse who slept in crumbs, 2 hours here, an hour there. She craved toast at 10 p.m. and woke puffy. We simplified her evening: dim lights, a warm shower, a consistent wind down, and no screens in bed. Her sleep consolidated, her nighttime snacking faded, and her fasting glucose softened. She said, I didn't fix my appetite, I fixed my bedtime. Your fix is to protect 7 to 8 hours in a cool, dark room, keep a gentle pre-sleep routine, and talk with your clinician if pain, reflux, or sleep apnea is splintering your nights. Fat loss often begins in the dark. If nights can nudge insulin up, stress can hold it there. Let's go there now.
4. Letting chronic stress and cortisol make every calorie stickier. You cannot white-knuckle your way through physiology. Chronic stress keeps cortisol elevated. Cortisol pushes glucose into your blood and asks insulin to tidy it up. Over time, that duet favors central fat storage and cravings for fast energy. Reviews in obesity and psychoneuroendocrinology journals describe consistent links between high perceived stress, higher cortisol, and increased abdominal adiposity, especially in postmenopausal women. Marisol is 70, a retired caregiver who became full-time caregiver again when her husband's memory slipped. She ate standing, slept shallowly, and lived on nerves. We couldn't remove her stress, but we could install release valves. A daily 20-minute walk outdoors, 10 slow breaths before meals, and 2 afternoons a week when her niece sat with her husband so Marisol could exhale. 6 weeks later, she wasn't lighter on the scale. She was lighter in her body. At 3 months, the scale followed. Your fix isn't a spa day. It's 2 or 3 repeatable anchors that downshift your nervous system. Breathing, light movement, prayer or meditation, a phone call to someone who makes you laugh, and asking for help so you can take them. Stress makes storage easy. Calm lets burn return. And while stress is loud, the next mistake is quiet. A pill bottle with a side effect no one mentioned. 3. Ignoring medication side effects that slow metabolism or raise appetite. Some medicines save lives and also make weight control harder. Beta blockers can reduce resting calorie burn. Certain antidepressants, antipsychotics, and seizure medications increase appetite. Some diabetes meds promote weight gain even while improving glucose. Geriatric studies in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society and Pharmacology reviews routinely flag weight change and appetite change as common adverse effects in older adults. Patricia, different Patricia, 74, a retired choir soprano, started a new antidepressant and a month later began waking to eat cereal at 2 a.m. She didn't recognize herself. Her primary care physician switched her to an equally effective option with a more weight-neutral profile and paired it with counseling. The night cereal vanished. Her mornings felt like hers again. Your fix is transparency and teamwork. Tell your clinician when hunger surges, movement feels heavier, or your body composition shifts after a new prescription. Never stop a medication on your own. Ask if an alternative exists or if timing and dose can soften the effect. Medicine should heal more than it harms. Even with the right prescription, a quiet gland can pull the brake. That's next. 2. Assuming just age when the thyroid is whispering for help. Fatigue, cold intolerance, constipation, dry skin, weight creep that doesn't match intake all can signal hypothyroidism, common in older women. Treatment decisions are nuanced in late life, but ignoring the thyroid means ignoring one of the body's master thermostats. Population studies in thyroid and geriatric endocrinology journals show that even subclinical hypothyroidism can associate with changes in lipids, mood, and weight trajectory for some older adults, while appropriate evaluation avoids both over and under treatment. Eleanor is 73, a retired librarian who blamed grandmother metabolism for a 10-pound gain and a heart that felt slowed. Her TSH was elevated, free T4 sat at the low end. With careful dosing and follow-up, her energy returned and her walking pace picked up. She said, "I feel like the lights came back on." Your fix isn't to chase a miracle number. It's to speak up about symptoms, check labs when the story fits, and individualize treatment with your clinician. When the thyroid hums, every other fix works better. And now, the number one mistake, the one that steals fat burning from sunrise to bedtime, even when you eat well. 1. Living most of the day in a chair and letting muscle go offline. Exercise is wonderful. Sedentary time is the saboteur. Studies in diabetes care and medicine and science and sports and exercise show that long, uninterrupted sitting suppresses the enzymes that clear fat from your bloodstream and reduces insulin sensitivity that same day. It's not just how much you move, it's how often you interrupt stillness. Linda is 70, newly retired, who saved her energy for an evening walk, but spent 6 continuous hours in a recliner beforehand. Her step count looked fine. Her body chemistry did not. We set a 30-minute timer. When it chimed, she stood, marched in place for 90 seconds, filled her water, or folded 2 towels. 2 minutes every half hour. Her evening walk stayed. Her daytime metabolism woke up. Your fix is a rhythm you can keep. Stand and move briefly every 30 to 45 minutes, especially after meals. Think of it as flicking the on switch for enzymes that handle sugar and fat. A little, repeated often, beats a lot, rarely. Weight gain after 60 isn't a character flaw. It's a choir of small forces singing the same song. Light breakfast starve muscle, low-fat packages repay you with sugar, healthy snacks overflow their handful, juice outruns fiber, strength training goes missing and sarcopenia moves in, short sleep tilts hormones, stress keeps insulin sticky, medicines nudge appetite and burn, a quiet thyroid dims the thermostat, and long, unbroken sitting shuts the fat-clearing valves. Change any one and you feel relief. Change several and your body remembers you. These aren't punishments. They're levers, mercifully small ones. A protein-anchored breakfast, labels read with a skeptic's eye, a measured palmful of nuts, fruit you can chew, 10 minutes of strength, a bedtime you defend, a breath you actually take, a medication conversation you dare to have, a thyroid you check when your story fits, and tiny movement breaks woven through your day. I've watched women in their 70s and 80s reverse the quiet creep and reclaim a waistline they'd said goodbye to. They didn't get younger, they got strategic and kind, especially to themselves. Tell me now in the comments, how old are you and where are you watching from? And be honest, have you made one of these mistakes and which fix will you start today? I read every reply because your story may be the exact sentence another woman needs to hear tonight. If this helped you, please like the video so it reaches more seniors and subscribe for more science-based senior health tips. Share it with a sister, a friend, or a neighbor who deserves to feel strong in her own body. Your metabolism isn't betraying you, it's listening. Change the inputs and it will change the output at any age. I'm Dr. Sarah. Thank you for trusting me with 20 minutes of your life. and with the possibility that the next 20 years can feel lighter than you've been told.